Time for the front pages of the newspapers. We'd like you to join us by calling the number you find on the screen and let us know what your thoughts are concerning the big stories we'll find on the front pages of the newspapers. Joining us this morning is the man whose introduction could take us an entire hour just to ensure that we get it right. But we're not going to spend time doing that. Let's just introduce him as public affairs analyst, the respected, the one and only Mr. Sesan Okunade joins us. Sesan Okunade, Ekaro.
You're welcome, sir. A man with many feathers in his
That's why
cap.
I said, if he removes this cap now,
the introduction will take 1 hour. Avid golfer, chartered accountant.
Come on.
Tiger Woods of
Ikeja.
Of Ikeja for now.
Maybe I'll follow the path of my sister and say Ekaro to my people.
Ekaro,
so
good to have you as well. So many things happening in the papers.
Many things.
That means your analysis, your expert analysis. So where do we start off from?
Anyway,
let's
start with Al Jazeera.
Okay.
Senate makes U-turn.
The bold headline there, Senate makes U-turn, OK's e-transmission with condition. But if...
Had it been, can it be? Perhaps.
Maybe. Could it be? Don't mind us, please. Let's just
challenge it.
Let's just
Oh my goodness. Okay. Upon careful examination of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, fresh issues have emerged, the Chief Whip says. And this is, of course, still looking at election results because the Senate President had said they have now approved e-transmission, electronic transmission. But should it be in Kanekwe, perhaps that didn't go through. They can now use manual as backup. Mr. Okunade, let's start with that story.
Is this a victory for democracy? Are you celebrating?
First of all, you don't even know whether Mr. Okunade wanted real-time transmission first.
True.
So did you see?
All golfers want real-time.
No, you don't know that, so let's not speak for him. Were you in support of real-time transmission?
Well,
the advocacy for real-time transmission?
I'm not the Gen Z person, I'm a Gen Alpha. So it's to tell you that when it comes to e-transmission, we're part of the people that were asking the people at the Senate, are they for us or they are against us?
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, for every young person, and you know the percentage of the youth that you have in there, that they want everything as in preparing Indomie, fast. So you are just voting, you want to see it online real time. So validate what, God bless you, that's the street language. As the thing they ought, maybe they see her. So that's the way it goes. So I'm part and parcel of people that have been an advocate of e-transmission of the results. And you ask yourself, what is actually the big deal in this? The last 4 years, we've expected, and it's part of the things that we've been holding the government on. How much have we improved on our infrastructure? Because, you know, I'm sure this will rely on the internet service here and there to make things happen before we hear another story. Just this morning, I was listening to a news where CBN and NCC are consolidating to have a draft framework on field recharge cards and the likes. And I asked myself, at this jet age, are we still experiencing? And I know people still experience it. It speaks volume to our infrastructure. How much have we actually worked? Don't forget that this issue of transmission of results lies on when the whole thing has actually been concluded. At the last election, we saw where people are actually using torchlight to do some of this result collation and compilation. So you ask yourself, if you've been at that particular spot from morning till that evening, hope not in the evening when you're about to upload, your phone will go down because there is no power supply. So a lot of things had to actually be put in place, not just succumbing to prayer. Because as far as I'm concerned, I ask myself, why will Senate now come up to say, now we are having a reverse? I love the word being used by Jaziri, say you make a U-turn. So you know you're actually going in the wrong direction. Thank God that the people are able to show them the next available U-turn.
The Google map.
The Google map to show them this is the path you need to go. You are not actually doing it right. But we want a situation where that clause will be properly monitored, because the next thing you will hear, you know, it's good you have a backup, and we are not disputing that fact. But I hope people will not capitalize on it to say, at least what the law says is that where there are failures, we want to establish the failure beyond reasonable doubt. What we're trying to establish here is just transparency, accuracy, accountability that people want. So you can imagine, as we are speaking, people are hearing. So it's not that it's doctored. People are not actually saying, AI. It's not AI, it's not anything. So as the result is actually being uploaded, everybody is seeing it at the local government, not the one we used to have before. They will move from the ward to the local government. In between that ward and local government, anything can happen.
2 hours delay.
Somebody is moving. Between the local government and the states is another transmission. And between the states, you are waiting for professor to fly. I remember the last time they said, okay, we are waiting for a result from Bauchi. The flight is actually being delayed. Here, at this point in time, flight is not being delayed. As you are uploading right from the ward, is eating the portal of INEC, and everybody is. It's not like having a shared document.
Put it inside his bag.
Nothing as that. In fact, that paper you are holding is just for documentation purpose.
Absolutely.
The result is already up there. So I'm sure they too reviewed the process and consider that e-transmission is actually the way to go. But we should not stop at we've approved it. Let's wait. Most of our problem is not just having this issue of signing things into law. It is the implementation. It is then somebody will see somewhere that something actually must go wrong for them to explore the fallback or the backup that has actually been provided. But it's a good thing, a good step in the right direction.
Are there other areas of the electoral amendment law that you have taken interest in? For example, the penalty for vote buying is now, I believe, 5 million naira.
And then to 2 million.
And then they haven't said anything about, it used to be 500,000 naira before. So you can pay them out of pocket.
They now took it to 5 million. I think they argued that they should bring it down to 2 million.
And then there's also the issue about early campaigning. There's no penalty for that. It's more like INEC is appealing to their moral. Please search your heart. Don't campaign early.
You see, when the people to actually, when the people making the law are the one that you are making the law against, you don't expect anything different. So and you should expect a safe landing.
Campaign, people might think, it's harmless, it does nothing. It really does.
It goes a long way. You see, part of the problem...
Governance also has a tendency to pause.
Part of the problem I have with our leaders is do what I say and don't do what I do. So the fact remains that you are still in 2026. Governance, we are losing structure of governance in states, and what everybody is looking at is either second term or you are strategizing or who is actually coming in, and people will start seeing the gap. I'm sure a lot of infrastructure that has actually been put up will start giving way now because nobody monitors that. What everybody is actually
after. The coastal road is already flooded. It's taking its real name of a coastal road.
When I saw the video yesterday, I'm like, why are people criticizing it? This is a coastal road, and you are expected to have water, covering
coastal road.
Oh, that's why it's called coastal road. Wow.
That's just on the relaxed road. But the fact remains that our leaders should try as much as possible to be sensitive to things, not the one that is just impacting on them alone. I expect that this issue of vote buying should be criminalized. People should actually go to jail for actually doing vote buying. But that will not fly because there are different approaches to it.
We don't have enough. We don't even have enough jails to accommodate.
We will build now. What stops us? If it has to do with that particular, then we build more so that people can know. You see, the major problem we keep having is that there are no consequences for wrongdoing. So most of the time, people will say, is it 2 million? Just leave all those things. Nothing will happen. But remember if they pick you up for wrongdoing, you won't pay any fine.
If they pick somebody up, don't say you, please.
If they pick...
Superstitious.
I don't understand.
Leave it alone.
Okay, if they pick somebody...
Are you going down? No, I'm going up.
I'm in Nigeria.
Okay, you're Nigerian. Okay. So, if they pick someone...
Pick your enemy.
No, don't let's go to the enemy now, Jenga. At least... Yeah, they say you should bless your enemy and don't get your... So if they pick someone up and rather than you paying penalty in terms of fee, and you have to do community service. And there is this coverage on social media where somebody is actually sweeping the floor, is actually packing the waste bin and the likes. Although some will go trending like someone did in the past to say it's community service, that there is actually serving the nation. But that will be there for life. You're able to put the narrative that what this person is actually doing is consequences for, he's paying the price of the wrongdoing he has actually, because when you monetize some of these things, the people in question, I asked myself,
just
2 million that you're talking, or 5 million.
The budget of 100 million.
You just budget 100 million for vote buying, and when you settle that and when they pick you up, you just go ahead and do it. If somebody can set aside as high as 100 million to buy the registration form, so what are you talking of to definitely take care of vote buying? I feel rather than attaching cost to that, we should criminalize it in such a way that their companies too should pay the price. You know, most of the time some people will be picked up and they will not just be out there to say, this is the person that sent me, because they know it's actually
should we apply to those that also collect gala and malt?
Gala and malt.
Yes, as we witnessed in Anambra State in the last elections. I mean, it's a sort of inducement. I don't know.
Well, look, I don't know about that. Let's go to the other story quickly, because we still have to
on the
come
front
back.
page of Al Jazeera Week.
Yes, there's one that I want us to look at. It sounds much more like an irony or an ironical story. Reps slam teaching hospitals for abandoning research.
Have they finished treating malaria?
No, have they
even paid them?
Let's start from that. Have they paid them?
They are now telling them that
to slam them for abandoning research.
It's almost like NFA, Ministry of Sports, slamming Super Eagles for not winning World Cup, or some of their players for not winning Ballon d'Or. When they are still fighting for match bonus.
Joe, you see,
very ironic.
we keep saying this, that misplacement of, in as much as we understand that we should have some of this thing on. Have you actually put in place those infrastructure to actually make those research to work? How much of the research in time past that some of these lecturers, professors, have actually brought to bear have you utilized in areas of specialization? You ask yourself, people are not encouraged because you go ahead, dissipate a lot of energy to bring out a particular thing. Do we even believe in our own? If a foreigner brings out something and we bring it out in our own local way of saying this is the route at which we... I remember when research was put up on the use of, is it Zobo drink?
Yes.
A professor came out with that.
Even yesterday,
research,
yes.
And I'm like, how much have we actually encouraged that kind of thing? How much have we promoted those things where people will know that, okay, this is our local thing that we need to do? I remember during COVID, a lot of people were saying, we can handle this thing locally with some of the traditional things that we have. And a lot of people said, no. It is the one specified by the WHO. And people came out and say, is it not an avenue for you to make? Because the way you will see a foreigner and the way we react to things are quite different.
Yeah.
You can't compare it. You see a guy, how many white men can stay under the sun the way you and I will stay under the sun?
I once hosted an event, and the theme of the event was clinical research, the underrepresentation of Africans in clinical research in sub-Saharan Africa. So imagine, in fact, we're going to break. When we come back, we'll talk about this a little more, and then we'll head to our next story. Very important. We'll be right back.
We must sincerely apologize for that long break. We did have to take care of some technical issues, but welcome back. Mr. Sesan Okunade is still here with us, and we need to move straight to the next paper. Olive, you were looking at the leadership, if I'm right.
Yes, before, let me just take a few comments. I think it's a very important comment I need to take.
All right.
On YouTube, Olumide Alade says, it's been a lot of comments. Olumide Alade says, the body known as INEC does not appear to function with full independence. Having publicly committed to the electronic transmission of election results, a measure supported by the majority of voters, it would have been appropriate for the legislature to respect that decision and allow the commission to discharge its responsibilities without interference. Pa Samako says, Good morning, beautiful team of News Central. I greet you all from Lekki. Madam Olive radiates and shines like a diamond. Thank you so much.
I hope
Pius.
you also read comments that compliment us. And it's
Of
not
course,
just
I
your own
read.
personal
They've not
comments.
complimented you. Don't be
Guys,
angry.
please, we need comments. Join us.
Thank you, Pius.
No, you didn't say it well. Guys, we need compliment real time.
Real
Real
time.
time.
Everything
That's a
that's
good
real
one.
time.
Translate the compliments.
Pius Amako says, meanwhile, what happened yesterday at the National Assembly? I hope we have not gone back to the era of glitches. Nigerians want to be able to choose their leaders. Thank you very much for that, Pius. Let's go to the leadership newspaper. On the front page, reactions at Senator Okezie transmission of results, retains manual collation as backup. Wike, by God's grace, Tinubu's mediation in Rivers will be the last one.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Here we are again. Rivers State.
Why did he have to put by God's grace?
By the
He's
grace
not
of
too
God.
sure of himself.
You see, once it starts coming to their work and you are doing by the special grace of God, I will never downplay the grace of God because I'm a Christian. Yeah. But sometimes
They
it's
use it
indicative of the fact that they are using it as a cover-up instead of them to do what they are meant to do.
Especially carpenters.
By the grace of God, I will deliver.
We'll finish tomorrow by the grace
Mechanic,
of God.
by the grace of God, your car will be ready today.
My mechanic will first ask you, Mr. Gbengaibole once saying, where are you now? So if you say you are in Ikeja, I will be mushy. So you can lie.
You see this issue of grace of God, people abuse it. Like you said, we are Christian, and it's supposed to we are just committing it in the hands of God.
So do you think that they are abusing this grace of God in Rivers State because they are saying that by the grace of God,
yes,
they
have over abused it now. They have over abused it. So putting it in God's hand, we want to wait for what happened, and they will now. You can't. Let me say that you can't rubbish God's grace. You would rather be disgraced, because if anything now fall back, will you say that God's grace is absent in that decision of yours? And that's why politicians, when they are doing some of these things, a lot of us just laugh. You don't just bring God in the mix of things that you know deep down your heart will not go that route which you have actually proposed. So when you fail, who do you want to stay? You now say it's devil. Meanwhile, you have actually, notified people that you've actually, and these are part of the problems that we keep having. One thing we will say is that come together. The essence of leading us is to give good governance to the people and make them enjoy the dividend, the benefit of what it is to have all these natural resources that we are endowed with. Whatever, when you see some of these politicians fight amongst one another, it's for personal interest and not for the interest of the people. So bringing God's grace therein, I pray God grace will be sufficient for them, if at all. We'll have it across.
I don't pray about God's grace sufficient for them. It's people of Rivers State that need God's grace, not these leaders that have then thrown them into
because I can imagine what is actually happening in Rivers.
Terrible, really terrible.
It's really not something to write home about.
Now, special forces will be deployed in Kwara and Niger, according to the CDS. Curb election year spending spree. Central Bank warns governors. Atiku Makinde visits IBB in Minna. APC Congresses, crisis looms in Ondo, parallel exercise imminent. Heartbreaking story. Brothers arrested for killing and burying their sibling in shallow grave.
This is similar to what happened to Joseph. Very terrible.
It's just that Joseph's only survived. They didn't kill him. How did we get here?
When we are becoming too materialistic in everything, it's because we encourage that in the populace. Nobody wants to care how you make your money these days. It's about you just bringing a porch.
Some landlords, there's some, not all, some landlords.
In fact, it's becoming crazy these days where you see people just going as far as, ×3 your rent. And you ask yourself, where are we? Is it? I don't understand. So what you are invariably doing, and I was having a conversation with an agent yesterday, and he said, Uncle, the fact remains that the internet fraudsters are being packaged by agents before the landlords because they all need that money.
They are now called forex traders.
They are now forex traders.
Investor.
So businessmen, mogul, and the guy comes with a very clean car, clears off his shave and he looks neat. And he gets in after the second year, he starts struggling when business are no longer booming to pay your rent, and it becomes war, he won't come out. So because we are too materialistic, people just want to impress the other party.
I need to go and look for the story. I need to go and look for the story so I can see, because it doesn't make sense when I hear the stories like this of you.
But this is not the first time.
But this one, it seems it may not be about money. So operatives of the Imo State Police Command have arrested 2 brothers, Lucky and Uzoma Amadi, for allegedly killing their elder brother, Orindu, and burying him in a shallow grave. The incident occurred in the Umuokpe kindred of Umuchimanyiri village in Imo State. Right? Now, the youth of the community have forced the brothers to exhume the corpse of Orindu buried in a shallow grave. According to them, they're saying that the 2 brothers are blaming the now deceased brother for the death of their father 10 years ago. We don't know the circumstances. We don't have the full picture. But you think your father died 10 years ago and this person was a reason why your father died. So you now decide 10 years later to kill him and bury him in a shallow grave.
They are not giving you the in-depth of it. If their father is still alive, that means they are looking at some things they would have achieved, which allegedly their brother has denied them of. And that's why they feel, let's kill this man because he actually, murdered our future. And seeing him alive, I'm just adding 1 and 2 together with my brain to like, there is still something underneath, which is
we don't have the full picture.
I just feel, because how will you, except they just claim they are brothers and they are not brothers by blood. You wait and you feel that the best thing to do is to kill a fellow man. I'm not even if it's not your brother, to wake up and kill human being.
And then they just, after killing him, they still had the mind to still remain there. Like nothing will happen. Let's quickly go to the Guardian newspaper. On the front page of the Guardian, INEC again is the big story. Russia denies report of Nigerian mercenaries killed in Ukraine war. Zoning rule, court battles test opposition cohesion ahead of 2027. Experts urge federal government to criminalize ransom payments to terrorists. We'll come back to talk about that. Academics rule selective implementation of 40% pay rise. Lagos, 12 other states to experience longer rainfall in 2026, says NIMET. So the one we are saying is going to get worse.
It has started. There was no dry. There was no Harmattan. There was no dry season.
Yes. Yeah. Lagos State government seeks food and water vendors order support in war against cholera. They're asking for you to be more hygienic in the process of carrying out your business. Nigeria spent 3.53 trillion naira importing raw materials locally available. Another topic.
Massive.
Really massive. CISLAC urges action as Nigeria dips in global corruption rating. What we just celebrated recently, we've taken a dip.
Wait, dip.
We are now 142.
Meaning we are falling.
Yes, I'll check the numbers. If you can quickly help me do the Googling.
Anyway.
So, court bars Osun local government funds utilization pending end of trial. All right, so Nigeria's, let me read it here. CISLAC calls for stronger actions. The civil society organization, that's the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, has called for stronger action against corruption in Nigeria in the wake of the release of the latest Corruption Perception Index of the Transparency International on Tuesday. It was reported that Nigeria fell 2 places to 142nd out of 182 countries in the 2025 CPI. Nigeria's performance in the latest ranking was officially announced by CISLAC TI's chapter in the country. The country scored 26 out of 100, below the global average of 43, and trailed 33 other countries, African nations in the ranking. So, our country, they said Nigeria's score remained the same as in 2024. Its drop in ranking highlights stagnation in anti-corruption efforts. So it doesn't seem like there's been progress made in this regard.
But the former late president said he was coming to fight corruption, as rightly put. Former late president Muhammadu Buhari. The current administration said when they come in, they would ensure that corruption is no more.
Every administration always gives room to that. But how many people have you seen being punished for some of this misappropriation of funds at any level? If I will give you what is the story behind the alleged removal of the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. Do we hear any story about that?
She welcomed somebody from New York, the mayor of New York.
And then maybe by 2027 you consider.
But they'll tell you that a high-profile person like the former Justice Minister is facing trial.
So
that's fighting corruption.
A lot of this trial, where does it end? That's the question we need to ask. How many people have actually been prosecuted? Yaya Bello and the like. So we have a lot of some of these things that are just standing out. So whether we have this rating by TCI or the likes, the fact remains that we know that in terms of corruption allegation, we are not. Look at Malami. We're talking about over 200 and something trillion, a billion in his custody with several properties
Ordinary
everywhere.
Nigerians too, like Joe said last week, and I think that's Joe's motto for this year, that we are our own problems.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure Joe has seen
and
this
Nigeria's
video
problem.
clip on social media. These pranksters that go around planting money with the recorded camera, and then
And
you
then
see
I'll use that for wake up
somebody's
tomorrow.
mother, somebody's auntie, say I kept it there. It's my money.
And I will just use it as trap. Trap artist. Thank you.
I saw the video. There was even one I saw where a lady actually left the wallet, on the table, and the owner of the shop was calling her. Another lady was there and said, "No, it's my wallet." I said, "No." So the other lady said, "No, it's mine." And they started arguing, and I'm like, what does not belong to you? Why are you just laying all the claim to it? And lo and behold, they just brought the camera that it was actually a prank, and the lady felt, embarrassed that it doesn't. So I think it should just be it's contentment that we actually need, because a lot of the people taking some of this money, you can't stay in 2 rooms, you can't drive 2 vehicles, even if you have several escorts. All those things is inside one vehicle, you will still stay.
And it's vanity upon vanity.
At the end of the day, you will sleep one day, you will not wake up. People will ask you, what are the legacy you've laid down? It is a lot of them will claim
Mercedes-Benz is your legacy.
The big car you're driving currently. Come to think about it, few years back, a car like Tesla was not out there. So if you feel that you are in the range of Benz, nobody talked about all this Benz, G-Wagon. Like people are talking of EV vehicles, where you see and when you look at the sophistication of some of these vehicles, you can't compare it with what you have. So we keep telling them it's about the legacy you leave, and it's about the people you are able to build and impact on, not those structures.
For generations.
Because the structures you have today, in the next few years, you discover that...
we have a story that, unfortunately, we're almost out of time, but I'm just going to quickly touch on it. Experts urge federal government to criminalize ransom payments to terrorists. Senate, now, if you recall, there was sometime in 2022, it was reported that the passage of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013 Amendment Bill 2022 followed the adoption of the report of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. There was actually a law that forbade payment of ransom, to abduct. I think it's called the Terrorism Prevention Act. So it was amended in 2022 to prohibit the payment of ransom to kidnappers, abductors, or terrorists. And under the amendment, anyone who transfers funds, makes payments, or colludes with kidnappers for ransom is guilty of a felony and liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 15 years.
In the same light, they should also criminalize payment of mobilization fees to Nigerian police for doing their job, payment for higher education, payment for biro to write statements.
And it should also be criminalized for a government not to be able to provide security to its citizens.
In fact, that should be the first thing, because it's their primary responsibility as entrenched even in the Constitution. But are we getting the security allowed? A lot of state governors, they have access to security vote. What are they actually utilizing some of those things for? We all wait most of the time for the center. We are waiting the directive. Any little thing, they rush to Aso Rock and notify Mr. President. But you are the CSO of that particular state. Security votes are actually being given to you. Internally generated revenue are there. Increased fact with the level of subsidy removal that we have there. And we are still talking of insecurity everywhere. I think it's something that you see most of the time we have some of these things in the document. But when it comes to implementation, the people to implement it are the one that you are asking to actually do what is actually
if this amended Terrorism Prevention Act is fully operational, what we'll see is, it will be pure chaos. We're wrapping up the show, and it's very important for me to take this comment on YouTube as we wrap up the show. First of all, Mokunye Chukwuemeka says, why will you make anti-corruption progress when a Yahaya Bello is heading to Mecca, beware, etc.? We're not serious in this country. And the final tweet to wrap up Breakfast Central today from Shian Moore says, Benga is looking dashingly handsome. Wow. And Joe looks calm and well collected in his sparkling white shirt and green tie. Thank you so much.
You have the favorite commenter this year, and it's just February.
I like the way you commented in real time.
Thank you.
That is an transmission of the results.
We appreciate it. We really, really appreciate it. And on that note,
Yeah, on that note, we'll draw the curtains on today's show. I'd like to wish you a happy Valentine's Day in advance. And for the men on this set, if you give birth in November, we know what you did in February.